Hey, where are you?
I will go over the features and I have a few tests a little bit later on in this video just so you guys have a good idea of what these have to offer. But for the highlights, they are packing Bluetooth 5.3 with aptX compatibility. You can get up to 45 hours worth of use when you factor in the charging case. They are compatible with the EarFun app. They give you ANC, transparency, high-res audio, multi-point connectivity, and they're also compatible with the new LC3 audio codec, which is superior to the SBC codec for you Android users. But of course, they do support the AAC codec for iPhone users as well. Starting off with the design of the case, it's straightforward without too much going on the outside besides your battery indicator lights in the front, and your USB Type-C charging port is in the back. It does feel sturdy in the hands, and it's small enough to throw in a normal sized pocket or purse when you need to take them with you on the go. I do like the fact that it does have more of a matte finish that does hold up pretty well against fingerprints, but you also get wireless charging with it, which is always a plus. The earbuds do have the stems coming down, which is not my favorite design, but they are executed fine with this pair in particular. For me, they aren't too long or too short, so putting them in and taking them out of my ears is easy to do without having to fidget around with them too much. I will say that they aren't the best for exercise for me personally. Once the sweat started flowing, they did slide around quite a bit, so I did have to reposition them more than I would have liked to in order to keep them from falling out. But one good thing about these is that they are IPX5 water resistant, so even when I had them drenched with sweat during a workout, they never malfunctioned and they worked without an issue. So in terms of comfort, guys, I would say that these are fine for everyday use. I've been able to use them for 4 to 5 hours at a time without any ear fatigue or discomfort. They do use touch controls and you have access to pretty much everything that you would need at your fingertips. You can summon your voice assistant, track forward, track back, volume up and down, and you can also control your various modes. So like I said, you have pretty much everything you would need. But not only that, guys, if you don't like the setup of the controls out of the box, you can customize them in the app if you want to. Speaking on the ANC performance, I would say that they do a decent job of reducing those low humming tones such as an AC running or a fan buzzing, and if you're looking to reduce dialogue, they do an okay job with light to medium levels of talking. You aren't getting multi-mode ANC or transparency with these though, so all that you can do is select from ANC, transparent, or normal mode, which is not going to activate any of those other modes. I've used them outside on my walks a few times, and I would say that they drowned out about 50 to 60% of the noise going on around me with my volume set at about 50%. So in comparison to other ANC earbuds between 60 and 80 bucks, I would say that these perform just about as good or even a little bit better than most that I've tried out. On the other hand, the transparency mode with these is stronger than I thought it would be, and I have been impressed at how well I can hear things going on around me. During my testing, I found that if somebody was having a conversation within about a 2 to 4 foot radius of me, I could usually hear it relatively well. As I mentioned earlier in the intro, you can get a maximum usage of about 45 hours with the case, but on a single charge with the earbuds, you'll get a maximum of about 9. But you gotta keep in mind that in order to get that number, you're gonna have to use these without ANC. If you use them with ANC on the whole time, you're gonna get closer to 7 hours, which is still not bad for the price. I have been able to use them to watch YouTube videos and Amazon Prime movies through both of those apps on my iPhone 14 Pro and my Galaxy Z Fold 4 without any noticeable lag. But it is worth mentioning that if you're a hardcore mobile gamer, these do have a built-in low latency mode that you can toggle on for a near instant response. Other things that you can do inside of the app include seeing the charge left on the earbuds. The case does appear, but I have never seen it work. Hopefully this is something that EarFun fixes via a firmware update, but as of right now, it never populates. Besides this, inside of the app, you can update the firmware when applicable, choose from pre-built EQs or create your own. You can access the user manual whenever you want to, and you can also customize your playback controls as well. For the sound quality, guys, I have to say that you gotta be really careful with how you EQ these because they can definitely distort quite a bit if you do it wrong. Initially, I set my bass to be on the heavier side like I always do, but that turned out to be a mistake because it was not a good experience whatsoever. When I had them set this way, the lows were popping and they did not have that punch or sub bass rumble that I expect from EarFun. Overall, it was just really uncontrolled, overpowering, and artificial sounding, so I went in there and dialed it back to about half of the max setting, and this did wonders for the sound. They sounded a lot clearer and that bass distortion pretty much disappeared. Besides that, the highs were bright and crisp without having that piercing effect. The mids were respectable with vocals being forward without being too overpowering, and the bass was there without dominating the other frequencies. So in general, I would say that if you don't want to go in there and play with the EQ bands to get the sound that you're looking for, you may want to start with bass reducer as a starting point and just make a couple of minor adjustments because they really can sound great if you do this. For those of you all wondering about the call quality, these do feature 6 built-in mics, and I think that they do a pretty good job of focusing on your speech while rejecting some of your environmental noise. But as always, I did take samples just so you guys can judge for yourselves. Let's check them out. Alright guys, so right now I have the earbuds paired to my iPhone 14 Pro. As you can see, the audio that you're hearing is coming directly from the microphones on them, and I'm not going to do any type of editing to this sample, so this should give you a pretty good idea of how these will perform in a relatively quiet room. And now I have some simulated background noise playing in the background. Everything else about the test is exactly the same, still paired to the iPhone 14 Pro, so this should give you a pretty good idea of how these can cancel out some of the noise going on around you and focus on your speech.
Headphone wearers are divided into two camps, the in-ear fans and the rest. While some folks hate having something inside their ear canal, for others it's the only way to go when you want to be discreet or if you're trying to block absolutely everything out. I recently got the chance to try out some headphones from Bose and Wilkins, and this time I'm reviewing the new PI7 in-ear true wireless headphones. In this review, I'll tell you what the fit, feel, and sound quality is like, about the battery life, and if these have any special features. And I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler here because these headphones do have one remarkable feature. They'll connect with any TV or other device with an aux jack or USB-C output for wireless headphone listening. More on that in just a sec. These headphones are pretty good looking. The pair I got is black and silver, and the overall look is sleek and minimalist. Brushed metal elements give the PI7 a high-end look and feel. The earbuds are kind of bullet-shaped with brushed silver tops. They do stick out of the ear noticeably, but they feel secure. Different sets of ear tips in the box let you get a good fit. These are IP54 waterproof and dust-resistant, meaning they should be quite durable. The Bowers & Wilkins PI7 should be in pairing mode when you open them up for the first time. If by chance they're not, or you want to connect them to another device at any time, just push the small Bluetooth button on the inside of the lid near the status light. When it flashes blue, you can hit your phone's Bluetooth settings and tap to connect. I was paired and listening in under a minute. To get access to some of the headphones features, you'll want to download the Bowers & Wilkins Headphones app from the App Store or Google Play. The app will probably recognize and find your headphones right away, as it did for me. Inside the app, you can view battery percentage, noise cancellation status, adjust audio pass-through. I was really impressed by the sound quality in these earbuds. They come across as very well balanced and allow a lot of nuance through in the music. The bass is really strong and vibrant, and there is no discernible lean towards either the high or the low ends. I checked out a variety of music on the PI7, from jazz to rap, pop to punk, and everything sounded great. Overall, I really enjoyed the listening experience with these earbuds. Let's get into some of the features, like the streaming connection, or what you could call audio retransmission. These headphones will allow you to connect wirelessly to audio from other source devices. Things like a laptop, an airplane audio outlet, or even a TV streaming box or a TV if it has the right connection. And it'll pipe the sound from that device directly into your earbuds. Now, to do this, you will need to connect the included USB-C or the 3.5mm aux cable to the case and the source device. The charging case for the PI7 here acts as a streaming dongle, essentially, and it'll pipe whatever audio it's physically connected to right into your earbuds. I tried this with a TV in my house, and it is remarkably effective. These headphones are an absolute game changer for anyone who doesn't have a television with Bluetooth, but who wants to listen to the TV without disturbing others. I haven't had the chance to ever try out a feature like this before, so I'm pretty blown away by how effective and easy it is, and why no one else has thought of this before. The PI7 also have wear sensing, which is quite responsive and smart. When I'd pull out an earbud to hear what's happening around me, the music automatically stops. Put it back in and the music resumes. This feature was a welcome addition to the headphones, and it worked really well. There are embedded touch controls in the top of each earbud, and they actually worked quite well too. The noise cancelling on the PI7 is actually pretty good and a bit better than the noise cancelling on the PX7 headphones I tested previously. There is a bit more muting, and it's possible to hear the low digital wisp of sound that actually helps cancel that outside noise. Of course, though, the passive sound isolation you get from the earbud's tight fit inside your ear also does help significantly. Now, I've had the opportunity to test out a lot of noise cancelling, so I know it's possible to have pretty much a perfect cone of silence. And my top noise cancelling pick right now is the Apple AirPods Max. I'd say the PI7 here cancel out about 80 to 85% of outside noise, while something like the AirPods Max can get to about 90 or 95%. Pass-through in these headphones worked really well too, and I was easily able to hear around me as the headphones piped in ambient sound that would otherwise probably not get through the really good fit from these earbuds. The battery life in the PI7 is what I'd call average to low, and it's here they lose a few points for me. With just 4 hours in the buds and 16 hours in the recharging case, these aren't breaking any records when it comes to longevity. Even so, there is both fast charging, where 15 minutes will get you 2 hours of battery, and there's wireless Qi charging too. Overall, I am blown away by these earbuds. The sound quality is outstanding, the looks and the styling are beautiful, and the special features, including the ability to stream audio from TVs and other devices, is an absolute game changer. I can see these headphones being a must-have for a lot of folks simply for that media streaming ability alone. When they find out the PI7 are also amazing sounding, and they have multiple charging options, noise cancellation, and pass-through, and that they're comfortable, they're going to be wowed like I was. So what are the downsides to these earbuds? For me, it was the battery life. While you're getting kind of an average battery life in these headphones, I'd love to see Bowers & Wilkins take it to the next level by delivering even more battery power in future generations of these earbuds. Overall, though, I can definitely recommend the Bowers & Wilkins PI7 True Wireless Earbuds to you, and these are definitely going on my list of top 5 favorite new headphones.
Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Bose QuietComfort 2. We're going to do an EBP Man call quality audio test, and we're going to see if these are your next earbuds. Let's go ahead and check them out. Now I've been testing the Bose headphones and earbuds ever since they've been releasing them to the market, and these happen to be the most comfortable that I've had for a very long time when it comes to the earbud category, and they have some really decent specs too. So we're talking about 6 hours of battery life. Now these have permanent either ANC on or transparency mode, or what they call aware mode on. So it really doesn't have an off state like some of the other earbuds, hence the 6 hours that you have. 24 hours that you get with the case that you're going to see in a couple seconds, and if you charge them for 20 minutes, you're going to get 2 hours of usage. So it's almost like looking at, for every 10 minutes you get an hour worth of use, which is going to be pretty good. They do have an aware mode, and the aware mode basically is transparency mode, but they call it aware mode because it's smarter than standard transparency mode. It basically is listening to the noise that's going on around you, and if something very loud is taking place, it kind of mutes it. It's smart so that you're not shocked by that noise. And you also have the ability to create custom profiles in the app, so that, for example, if you want a running profile, if you want a walking profile, if you want a study profile, a focus profile, we're talking, you can set these up. And I have to say that the active noise canceling on this is stupendous. It's like being in a void. You've heard me describe this like this in the past. Like, it's like you're basically in a zone of nothing. And it was funny because literally today, Nelda walks up to me and she taps me on the shoulder because she was talking to me just feet away and I didn't hear her. So they work really, really good. Now they have 4 microphones, Bluetooth 5.3. They don't have multi-point technology, but they do have a 6-device memory. And you've seen this a lot of the Bose products where you can register 6 devices and then you can switch to them through the app. So the chip has a Qualcomm S5 audio chip, and that chip does support multi-point technology. So let's see if there's a firmware upgrade that's going to change this, right? So again, 6-device memory, no multi-point, but we hope to see this in the future. SBC codec and AAC as well. Doesn't have all the codecs, so I expect that there's going to be some firmware coming. And then it has an IPX4 rating. Let's take a look and see what's in the box, and we'll see what they look like close up. Now in the box, you're going to find your earbuds in the case. There's no protective tape on it preventing it from being charged, so they're actually going to be charged with whatever battery life you have in the case. You have a USB-C cable, and then you have a set of ear tips, right? And these little wings that you'll see in a couple seconds. And they're going to give you the best fit possible when you get your QuietComfort 2s. Now when you take a look at the case, there's a lot going on here. So first of all, you have the smallest case to date when it comes to the Bose. So this is the traditional Bose case. This is the Bose case now, so it makes it a lot more pocketable. But if you compare them to the, again here, the new Pixels, they still have a way to go, right? And I'm going to reach in my pocket because I'm going to pull what I have, what is my everyday carry. And these are the Space, again from Soundcore. You can see the size. And then if we were to look at, again, the Galaxy Buds 2 Pros, they're the same size as this one here. Now you can see what we're competing with. So great effort on their side to get something smaller, but they still have a way to go. Now, the case itself also is lacking wireless charging. So you're going to be able to charge these via the cable, but not wireless charging. And that's also something that's a little disappointing. You do have a little button here that's going to be used for pairing. And when you open this up, you can see you have LEDs, charging LED, and this is also where you're going to do the firmware updates. By the way, this has the most current firmware, right, that's available. They are magnetically locked in here, and they basically guide themselves. The one other area that I'll highlight is, and I hope they address this with the firmware update, is that they cannot be used independently. So you can't use one in your ear and the other one not. You actually have to have them both at the same time, or only one ear, like the one on your right side is the one that kind of drives everything. So I have to keep that on all the time. So let's take a look at the earbuds. We'll take them out of the case. And a lot has changed. Check a look at this. The design has changed significantly. If we take the previous version, and by the way, one of the things I really liked about the previous version, even though the case was chunky, was that it had this button, right? open this up, and then this is how they came out. But look at the difference. You know, these are gargantuan in size, right? Massive, massive difference here. So a lot smaller, and I'm going to put one on so that you can see what they look like. So here I have this guy on, and I have this guy on. Pretty big, right? It's like pretty big difference. So I really like what they did there when they redesigned it. So now what you're going to have here is there's no physical buttons, right? Everything is going to be tap, swipe kind of stuff, press and hold. You'll see kind of like the commands that are there. You have the little the wingtips here that are going to allow you to kind of lock them in your ear, and then you have the ear gels. What happens is when you set these up for the very first time, you go through a hearing test, and it's going to go through like the vroom that you hear from Bose when you turn these on, and it's going to basically map your ear canal to give you the best audio experience, and then to determine if you have the right tips. So what you do is you put them in your ear like this, put it like this, and you twist them, and then as soon as you put them in your ear, and we'll see it, what it looks like right there, you get that vroom that starts up, which is the Bose kind of like startup. So this is what they look like. Relatively small, right? They're very tapered, right? So, and they're very comfortable. I've been using these for at least 6 hours today and have had no issues whatsoever. All right, so let's talk about the audio quality before we actually go through our tests. First of all, I have to say that from an audio, these have punchy bass. They do have a bass profile, which is what I turn on because that's what I prefer. And I have to say that they're thumpy, they're throaty. And I'll say also from standard music, let's say bass, mids, and highs, instrument separation, I would say, you know, the overall sound stage on these, it's what you would expect from Bose, right? But again, they're doing really, really well in this area. If you were to ask me how do they compare to Sennheiser, which is something that I always get a question about, then I'd say the Sennheisers have a better sound signature than these do. But it's really difficult to compete with Sennheiser. But these have a great sound signature for Bose, and they're going to do really well, especially if you like great audio with great soundstage, and also if you love bass.
Like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different. Still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments. Doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors. They kinda tell me what I'm thinking. Fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. Quiet.
Now we're going to do a call quality test of the Bose QuietComfort 2 in a quiet environment. If you take a look at our decibel readings, about 29 decibels in noise. It's going to switch. Now this is what the Bose are going to sound like in a quiet environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is our test. Let's go ahead and add some wind to the environment. Now this is what the Bose QuietComfort 2 will sound like with wind in the environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is our test. Now we're in a much noisier environment, and as you can see here, our decibel readings are much higher, anywhere between 40 and all the way up to 76, maybe 78 decibels in noise. What we're going to do is we're going to switch to the Bose QuietComfort 2s. We're going to stay quiet to see how much is eliminated, and then we'll continue with the audio test. It's going to switch. Now this is what the Bose QuietComfort 2 sound like in a noisy environment. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. This is our test. Now if you're wondering what the QuietComfort 2s would sound like with the infant crying in the background, this is what they're going to sound like with an infant crying in the background. Now, if you're wondering what the Bose QuietComfort 2s would sound like with a dog barking in the background, well, this is what they sound like with a dog barking in the background. Now, if you're wondering what they would sound like with a doorbell ringing, this is what they're going to sound like if the doorbell was ringing. Now, Bose does have a companion app, and I highly recommend you install it. At the very beginning, again, it's going to do that test. It's going to check and see if you have the right fit. But then beyond that, this is where you're going to get your firmware updates. This is where you're going to do all your configurations, and you're going to really personalize these. Keep in mind that these already have a firmware update available. So when you get them in your hand, you're going to want to do that. So here you can see that you have your left and right battery levels. You have your modes, and I've created some for me. So basically it comes with quiet and aware. I created a focus mode and a walking mode. And each one, when you choose it, you actually hear it say it. You could actually create variety of modes here, right? So you can have remember your mode, as you can see here. And then what you could do is you can actually delete a mode because you can only have 4, and then you can create a new mode. So you have a lot of options when it comes to the different settings that you have. So I'll probably keep these because I do a lot of travel. So quiet is going to work for me on like, for example, on a plane. And then I'm going to have my walking mode and then some of the other modes that I have for my daily usage. Now, in addition to having your modes, you do have EQ, and remember I said that I had mine set up for the bass boost mode, and that's what you see right there. You then also have bass boost reducer, and I have been noticing that there's some flaky stuff going on with the actual app, so I'm going to set that bass boost again, and it could be just because it's been just recently updated. You also then have shortcuts, right? So you can tell it what it's going to do based on each one of these. So you'll notice that you can cycle through things, you can press and hold, so touch and hold type commands, and then you could set each earbud. I expect that there's going to be more touch type functions that you'll be able to do as firmware updates become available. You then also have your tips, right? So that's going to be, just things about the actual device itself. You can go into the settings area, and in the settings area you're going to find your serial number, firmware information, all the kind of things that are important about the actual device themselves. And then there's going to be an area in here where you'll be able to see some of the repeated settings that we just went through. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.